Hello friends, today I want to share a really neat book called How the Trees Got Their Voices. It's written by Susan Andra Lyon, and it's really a very interesting book because it talks about how the different parts of our world like to communicate with us in their own special ways. Our Native American friends look to the parts of Mother Earth for lessons on how to live their lives and how to care for Mother Earth and each other, for lessons from Mother Nature. So today I'm going to share this book, and as we go through the book, there's parts in the book that I'm afraid we won't be able to read every part, but the story itself is so fascinating, and I'm going to be sharing stories about different messages from plants and animals in our world over the next few weeks. So let's share this fun story. A bunch of kids and I were having a lot of fun camping. The wind had raced through the pines all night, rattling tent flaps and nerves. So when breakfast cooked earlier and pocket lunches were consumed, the girls took a break in their tent. As we started singing their favorite songs, I settled down near the fire circle with a wildflower book. The sun was bright, but I pulled my jacket close to squeeze in a little more heat. It said, "Believe me, magic can happen when it's most unexpected." Little did I know that a touch of magic had begun. And as we look at this picture, we see all kinds of animals hidden in that forest community made up of so many different trees, plants, and animals, each one wanting to share a special message with us. I began to hear low musical voices. They were so quiet, my ears squinted to hear the words. The sounds came again and again. Suddenly, I realized the words were not from people. I moved my eyes so the stately trees standing together like families, tall and small, all laughing and chattering in the wind. Lots going on in that forest, and we can see the sounds moving between them in the breeze. I carefully picked my way through some wildflowers to knobby rock outcropping. It was home to pines, aspens, squaw bush, and a bunch of curious animals and twittering birds. Magical voices swirled and twirled all around me. They whispered in my ears and played with my curiosity. I wonder what messages they're sharing. We see bear, raccoon peeking out, all kinds of birds, little squirrel. They're just curious too. I began to realize wise Mother Earth was including me in one of her ancient stories. All I had to do was listen inside my heart, and I finally heard the words. And this is what they said. Here's our beautiful Mother Earth. Do you see her face? You are one of her children. As in ancient times, the trees grew strong and tall, taller than all the other creatures. And because the sacred Creator gave all things, living things, gifts, so they were given to the trees. Great gifts they were too. Shelter for busy birds and scampering squirrels. Look at all of the animals that make their homes in that tree. Roots for the homes of burrowing and bunking animals. And beneath our feet, there's a whole world of animals making their homes underground. We see bears and rabbits, and skunk and toad and mice, foxy. We see a bobcat, different animals storing food. We even see an ant colony there. Sweet scented blossoms holding nectar, bark housing insects of lovely colors. Look at all the animals. This is a host tree for this kind of butterfly and moth. All kinds of insects make their home, and oftentimes, remember, our bees will make a colony in a tree, even the walking stick. Canopies of shade in the heat of the day, strong trunks feeling the tiredness of people stopping to rest, and the fur of many animals sleeping through the night, and the trees shared their gifts with love and generosity for eons. That's long periods of time. But day upon day they listened to the sounds of the earth creatures speaking to each other of love, concern, sadness, and praise from one to another. Sweet sounds of tenderness, quivering voices of fear, loving murmurs of mother and child. These enduring trees began to desire voices too. So the Creator called a council. A young tree spoke with respect and clarity. Its elders stood touching the tips of the little tree's branches as it made its request. We hear the voices of your creatures all through the year. Even in the blackest nights and fearful storms, they utter sounds that affirm they are connected, one with one, one with all. This we desire. And the young one grew expectantly silent. See all the faces of the trees? They all want to be able to communicate. The Creator nodded thoughtfully. Soft breezes ricocheted playfully from trunk to trunk. Tails and noses twitched, and the animals gathered patiently, awaiting an answer. Grasses chattered on, pushing the news farther and even farther, bending and bowing in waves. It says, "What's the news? What's the news? What's the news?" on the breeze. You grow larger than other creatures on earth, the loving Creator spoke slowly. If I give you big voices, they could frighten your neighbors and make them feel small. So I will give you voices that rise and fall with the breezes, one of quiet melody. They will comfort when there is sadness, and they will chatter happily when there is joy. With that promise, the trees immediately raised their branches, swaying in thanks and delight, whispering, whispering. And to this day, the trees speak to one another as the wind rises. Their rippling laughter and woeful worry, murmured love and cheerful clamor, all are tossed into the air to travel from one to one and one to all. And they have lived with this happiness ever after through every season of every year, through eons of time. Suddenly, the sounds of those stately trees standing in the wind took on a whole new meaning for me. I was honored by being included in Mother Earth's storytelling, and that night, after tasty s'mores and singing around the campfire, I glanced over my shoulder across the wildflower meadow, past the rock outcropping, and into the smiling trees, and I began to tell the ancient magical myth of how the trees got their voices. We are all connected. We are all living beings on an amazing planet. It is up to us to be the guardians of our beautiful earth and to be in awe of what she provides, now is a good time to listen to her stories on the wind. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you'll listen to the voices of the trees and animals in your world. The more you connect with them, the more joy you will experience living on our beautiful Mother Earth, and the more love you will feel for our beautiful planet, and will want to help Mother Earth care for our planet. Because remember, we are all connected, we are all interdependent and interconnected. We all depend on each other for survival, and we all make life on Earth more beautiful when we connect with each other.